Good morning, guys. How are you today? It's Wednesday. We've made it to Hump Day. I'm going to read you guys another fairy tale today. And it's like Hansel and Gretel. This is my other favorite, okay? Like, I loved Hansel and Gretel as a child, and I loved the story I'm going to read you today. And again, it's from my same big book, Treasury of Fairy Tales, by Geraldine McCaughrean. But the name of this story is Rumpelstiltskin. Have any of you ever heard this story before? I loved it as a child. Okay, so here we go. There's not a lot of pictures in this one, but I'll show you the little ones that they do have, okay? Here we go. It's Rumpelstiltskin. Fathers like nothing better than to talk about their children, to show them off, to sing their praises. Miller Thumb talked about his daughter all the time. In fact, he boasted and bragged and began to embroider the truth. My Polly sweeps up the mill every night. That was true. My Paul spins at her wheel every morning. And that was true. In fact, my Paul can spin straw on that wheel of hers. Unlikely. Yes, in fact, no word of a lie. My Paul can spin straw into gold. Oh dear. No, his friends at the inn were so astonished that one ran and told the lord of the manor. The lord told the king. Send your daughter to the palace, said the letter delivered next day to the mill, by order of the king. Miller Thumb was thrilled. He must have heard how pretty you are and wants to marry you, he said to Polly. Don't be foolish, father, said Polly. Kings don't marry country girls. But she brushed her hair and went to the palace, and the king's eyes flashed with pleasure at her sight. Come with me, he said, and with a grip disagreeable tight on her wrist, led Polly to a small tack room behind the stables. Strange place for a spinning wheel, thought Polly. I can't abide braggarts, said the king. Spin this bale of straw into gold by morning, or I shall cut off your father's head and put a stop to his boasting. The door banged, the bolt shot shut. The horses in the stable next door stamped their hard-shod feet, and Polly wept. Oh, father, what have you done? And what can I do to put it right? Spin straw into gold? It's never been done in the history of the world, and I'm not the first, and I'm not going to be the first. But I am. From a bin of bent, discarded horseshoes, a strange old man poked out a poker-long nose. It was as bent as a horseshoe and red as rust. I'll do your spinning for you at a price. That necklace of yours would do. And so the bargain was struck. Polly gave up her necklace, and the little man gave up his night spinning the wheel till it whistled. Straw twined together, then fell from the spindle like golden wood shavings, curling and coiling on the dirt floor. Long before morning, the straw was all gone, and gold strewings covered the floor. The little spinner climbed back into his barrel, and Polly fell asleep. When the king opened the door, he stared. It was true. The miller was telling the truth. He was sorry now that he had given Polly only one bale of straw to spin. Come with me. And with a grip disagreeably tight on her arm, he led her to the royal sewing room. Strange place for a haystack, thought Holly, as men with pitchforks piled 20 bales of straw in the center of the room. Spin all this into gold before morning, said the king, or I'll cut off your father's head and yours too. You see, the king was as fond of gold as the miller was of boasting. The door slammed, the bolt shot shut. The courtiers in the room next door sniggered and shuddered and went away. and Polly wept. "Oh, Father, Father, what have you brought me to? And now I am to get myself out of it. Spin straw into gold? I'll need the luck of the barrel of horseshoes to do that." "But I wouldn't," said a voice out of the cold, scuttle wriggled the same little man spilling coals onto the oriental rug. "I'll do your spinning for you at a price." Now this is what we're talking about here. See the necklace that she traded the first time for one bale of hay? And this is the big bale of hay. And here's the little man. And this is what we're talking about, the spinning wheel. Okay? Back a long time ago, that's how they made cloth. They used fibers to spin this wheel, and it would press these fibers together to make thread and cloth. Okay? So that's what he's trying to do. Is the king wants gold spun out of this straw because the miller said his daughter could do it. "But what can I give you except my thanks? That bracelet of yours would do." So the bargain was struck, and Polly gave up her bracelet, and the little man gave up a day and night to spinning. The wheel spun so fast that its 3 feet danced on the floor. The spinner was gone when Polly awoke, and the whole big room was carpeted in shavings of gold. When the king opened the door, he danced a little caper and beamed. "No fluke, no trick of the eye. You really can spin straw into gold. Come with me." And holding her prison tight for the fear she would escape him, he led her to the ballroom of the palace. Behind them trotted the prime minister carrying the spinning wheel. Men were pitching bale after bale of straw in through the windows, filling the vast hall from floor to ceiling. "Spin this into gold by morning, and I shall marry you to my son," declared the king. "No, I can't," Polly began to say. But the double door slammed, their bolts shot shut, and the king's voice echoed back down the long corridor. "Then you shall die, girl." Polly sat down and wept. "Oh, Father, Father, what did I ever do to deserve this? Spin all the straw into gold? It would take all the magic in the land to do it, and I haven't one speck." "But I have," said a voice. Out from amid the stacked straw, like a hamster emerging from its nest, buried the ugly little man, cracking his skillful finger joints. "I'll spin all of this and make you the princess bride at a price." Polly looked down at her bare arms, touched her bare throat. "I have nothing but my pinafore and petticoat to give you," she said. "I don't want them." "A kiss, then?" "Save it for the prince." "My thanks, then? What else?" "A promise. Promise to give me whatever you hold in your arms on the happiest day of your life, and I'll spin the straw into gold." Polly thought of her wedding. Isn't that supposed to be the happiest day of any girl's life? She thought of the wedding bouquet she would be holding that day, and imagined tossing it to the little goblin. So the bargain was struck. Polly gave her promise, and the little man gave his all to spin the straw. Gold fell like shavings from a lathe, and the spinning wheel turned so fast that its 3 little feet wore pits in the polished floor. Its spokes whistled, and its hub threw out sparks, but unspun straw still towered over them in sweet-smelling cliffs. Just as morning light crept in at the windows, just as the king's steps echoed down the corridor, the last thread of gold trickled from the spindle, and the goblin disappeared in a flash of a golden shape. When the king opened the double doors, he had never seen so much gold in all his life. He skipped and jumped and clapped. "Excellent! You shall marry my son and spin gold for him every day of your life." Fortunately, the prince had other ideas of married life. "My bride will never sully her hands with spinning," he said, caressing Polly's fingers in the most agreeable way. In fact, he was a wonderful husband in every respect, and their wedding was the happiest day of Polly's young life. But although as she peered around from the church steps, cradling her bouquet, looking for the little spinner, she saw no sign of him. No poker nose, no squint, no long crackling fingers. The old king died, and the prince became the king, and Polly his queen. Polly forgot all about her bargain. She was very happy. In fact, her happiness grew every day until 3 years later, her baby son was born. Then, cradling him in her arms and gazing up at his curling lashes and tiny perfect hands, Polly realized that wedding days were nothing compared to the joy of this. "I'll take him now," said a voice, and out from the brand new cradle clambered the spinner, cracking his long, skillful finger joints. "You swore to give me whatever you were holding in your arms on your happiest day of your life. Here it is, and here I am. Give me the child." "No, no," cried Polly. "Take anything. Take all I have, but don't take my baby. I want nothing else. I, who can spin straw into gold. What else would I possibly want? All I ever wanted was the child. Now waiting and work have brought around the hour. Hand him over to me. That's the rules of the game." "But it's not a game," cried Polly. "Or if it is, why did I ever have a chance to win? Oh, spinner, spinner, give me a fair chance in an unfair world." The spinner gave a hideous cackle and flexed his crackling fingers. "Very well. I've waited 3 years. I can wait 3 days longer. Here's a riddle for you to make the game fairer. What's my name? That's the game. Search about, find it out. If you can, keep your wee man. If you can't, then you shan't. 3 times I'll come, then playing's done. I'll keep your son." Turning a single, here's the Rumpelstiltskin trying to get her baby. Turning a single cartwheel, he disappeared, leaving a smell in the air like rotting straw. Polly called out the army and had them search the town. They emptied every barrel of horseshoes, every coal of scuttle, and pulled apart every haystack in the realm. The young king offered rewards and gathered in every church register of christenings. The goblin came back for the first time, and they asked him, "Is your name Aaron or Bernard? Eves or Zachariah? Is your name Africa or India, Russia or France?" But he only laughed and disappeared in a puff of flour, shrieking, "Guess again, you'll never guess." So do you see what Rumpelstiltskin has done? He's made a little game out of it, and he said, "If you can guess my name, then you can keep your son." But see, she doesn't know his name. She just knows him as the little goblin that came in and helped her, okay? So now they're trying to find him. Everybody in the, town is trying to find him and find out his name, okay? So the first day they didn't guess. The king posted a suggestion box on every street corner, and the people who loved their new king and queen dearly thought of all the names they had ever heard. The goblin came back for the second time, and Polly asked him, "Is your name horse or monkey or lion? Is your name pixie or elf or goblin?" But the spinner only laughed and disappeared in a sprinkling of crumbs, squealing, "Guess again, you'll never guess." In desperation, Polly rode the kingdom from end to end, from top to bottom, from the mountains to the sea. She eavesdropped from rooftops, listened at locks, and jotted down names on her cuffs and her palm of her hand. In her heart of hearts, she knew that no one knew the spinner's name, except for the spinner himself. She was riding back to the palace, her baby asleep on her back, when the road passed through a forest dark with more than shadow. Far off, she saw the glimmer of a fire and heard the crackling of twigs, and creeping closer, she saw the spinner himself dancing in a frenzy of joy around the campfire. He was wiggling his long, noisy fingers in the air, singing, "Move every stone, drain every bog, ask all the cats and every dog. Dig up the sea with a single oar, and you won't find what you're looking for. Search the night with candle shine, soon your baby will be mine. Guess again, lose the game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name. Polly turned her face to the moon and smiled, then tugged on her reins and quietly rode on through the wood. Next day the spinner came for the third and last time, carrying a willow basket under his arm to put the baby in. Is your name Avril or Maggie or Sandra? Said Polly. Is your name Mars or Venus or Saturn? The spinner reached into the royal cradle to tickle the royal baby. No, I win. Or is it Rumpelstiltskin? Said Polly, and the name crackled on her tongue. The spinner gave a shriek, and his nose uncurled with rage. Who told you? Spies and traitors, who told you? I'll cut out their tongues. Such a temper seized him that he stamped and stamped, feet dancing just where the spinning wheel had danced as it spun straw into gold. All of a sudden the floor gave way, and a gaping hole swallowed up Rumpelstiltskin like a whale swallowing the bent penny. Purple smoke filled the air, and when it cleared there was no trace of the spinner, but for that gaping hole and a scream of rage echoing through the palace. Rumpelstiltskin. There you go, he's down the hole, see? Guys, I just love that story. I don't know why I always liked it. I guess the thought of kind of like the magic, again, a fairy tale trait, that, something spun straw into gold, like who wouldn't want that? And then also the love aspect of how the mother loved her baby so much. That was the happiest day of her life. She thought that the happiest day of her life would be the day she got married, and that she'd easily give away a bouquet of flowers to because that's what she was holding on the happiest day of her life. But she didn't know that the happiest day of her life was when she had her baby. So that really probably couldn't happen, that story. But I love it. I love that story. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I will see you guys. I don't have a craft today, but I will tomorrow. But I hope you have a fabulous hump day. It's Wednesday. We only got 2 more days. And guys, you're doing fabulous with your work, okay? I'm so proud of you all. We only have like 15 days of school left, so we're doing great. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Love you. Bye.